The Leviathan might have been a little bit different. Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I think most people said my ships were actually the Leviathan, the the Lusitania, basically L ships, pretty much. I generally like to have L names associated with all my stuff, so yeah, just keep track, whatever. But the Titanic, which was a smaller ship, which but was still a very good ship. I mean, I loved it just as much as I loved all the other ships. People called it the real men's whatever RMS or something. I don't know, ship or star. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, originally it was built I think as a men's ship or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway though, but it was one of my ships. I mean, I had a lot of ships. What can I say? I mean, 15,000 ships. Maybe people are like, man, it's like, shut up. You're too young to know the truth. You're too young to know the truth. That's why a lot of people would say, you can't handle the truth. You probably can't. And you probably wouldn't accept it or admit it, even if you knew the truth. Anyway, the truth is that, anyway, in the about 1980s or 1970s, I moved on to basically doing Hollywood stuff or Bollywood stuff. Airbags for film people so they could jump off of tall buildings. Like I said, they would be doing radio shows and all kinds of stuff with with the airbags and other things for years. The stuff you use in movies, ways to look like you're hanging yourself without actually hanging yourself and stuff like that, and other stuff. In the old days, some actors were just expected to hold their breath, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not going to lose any of my actors. You know, like it doesn't work like that. It says you don't get the accurate drop, and I want it to look accurate and stuff like that. So, anyway, spending money on Hollywood or film, basically. Anyway, another Lucifer Star thing. Big epic ships, movies. Yeah, well, I did a little bit of everything. Anyway, so yeah, many thousands of people would come to know, a lot of the TV shows. I mean, a lot of the TV shows, like I said, they weren't actually in black and white. They were filmed in color, but people could only watch them in black and white because they couldn't afford the color TVs. Eventually, we got the color TVs priced down, basically. Things like the Encyclopedia Britannica. That was my one of my dictionary sets. Anyway, talking about plants and other things, and use color pages. It was very expensive to print, like I say, and that's why people liked. Oh, actually, wait, the color. It's like no, that was besides Britannica. Yeah, I did have pictures. I think it started out as a color photo magazine, basically, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, it was one of my dictionary sets, pretty much. I used to have dictionary sets printed, basically. It was one of my things. And my house even had a full set at one point in time. Somebody stole it, or I don't know what happened to it, sold it, I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, there's lots of stuff that was Lucifer Star stuff, that nobody even knew that was Lucifer Star stuff. It's just my old printing presses, printing out stuff and doing stuff. Anyway, whatever. Like I said, I mean, hundreds of years people would still be uncovering everything that was Lucifer Star. I mean, nobody even knew, like, nobody even knew the Leviathan. It was a ship with real gold railings and real gold everything. It had a big S on the floor, or LS, I think, in the pool. Somebody eventually put bars over it or something like that. I don't know exactly, to strike the S or something. L or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, it's Lucifer Star, basically. LS. Anyway, it was a big high-class ship. So anyway, lots of people would basically be denying the owner of it or who owned it and all that other stuff. And basically, it's one of my ships. So lots of people called it communism and all that other stuff, but it wasn't. It was more epic than even the Titanic. Anyway, 950 foot long, I guess, and basically really wide. Anyway, Rodney and other people would be very annoying in the world, trying to get to my Pearl Harbor, probably where I had clams and pearls being made. It's a very big open area with lots of water. Where you can hang clamshells and stuff like that. Anyway, though, lots of people would wander around the world around 1950s and 1940s and get into all kinds of messes, basically, as they encountered one or more of my different groups. Like I said, there are many of my groups around. Star stables, star this, star that. I was very much everywhere and had people taking care of my stuff. So, anyway, now that's where you get into Nixon and Rodney and Mike and Mike's brother. Basically, as they uncovered how rich I was or how powerful I was, but not understanding who exactly I was, or how, or even why. Anyway, yeah, well, LSF-A colony ship, faster than sound blackbirds. Like I said, Lockheed's or Nixon's big goal or big whatever was to actually get one of them or get a couple of them. Like I said, they were doing over the land. They used to give rides on them and stuff like that until one of the pilots actually, one of the people taking a ride had a gun on him somehow and basically reached around and tried to shoot the pilot. And then that was none of that, as they say. Anyway, they eventually stole one and called it taken or whatever. I think they said it was Russian or something like that, but the truth is they didn't know where or who built it. It's from Germany or France, basically. Like I said, the USF idiot people wandering around doing stuff. Like I said, they went to Pep Boys or the part shop down the street to actually get the fuel petcocks to actually drain out the fuel from underneath it to get the engines unclogged, and then took it up to like Mach 7, and basically they melted on them. So anyway, yeah, I mean, like I said it would do Mach 7 or something like that, but I didn't say actually to take it up that fast, Anyway, someone didn't really realize about why their conditioning systems were there and everything else like that. They lost a pilot that way. Oh well, that's what happens when you mess around with someone else's stuff. Anyway, so, and they lost one of my ships, basically, that way. There are 3 of them, there are 4 of them actually. I think they're down to 1 or 2. I'm not exactly sure. Eventually they try to rebuild them or try to replace them because the original ones though, well, they were just crashing the dual cockpit ones, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, the USF idiots, basically. Or US people, idiots. Messing around with stuff that's 5,000 years old or older. 10,000, 100, 2 million. They weren't exactly sure who built them or when they were built. Or who paid for them. Well, about the same time Panama was being built, they were being built. Maybe before. So, anyway. Yeah, they're old. They're really old. So, anyway, they were going to continue to fly them and all kinds of stuff. And Nixon or JFK or someone was going to mess around with them more. But, eventually they grounded them because it was like, I was like, I'm done. You're not going to screw up any more of my aircraft. And other people were like, you're not messing up those aircraft anymore. Those are colony ship aircraft. They're millions of years old. So, anyway, like I said, what they were trying to restrict from people from knowing about was the cracked tires underneath the LSF-A Blackbirds. They were cracked and destroyed. Those tires have like 500-year or 200-year half-life, or something like that. So they were really, 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 really old when they found them. Anyway, technically they ran out of tires or something. I'm not exactly sure. They're old. I don't really care. They're mine. Anyway, LSF-A went with my colony ship. Anyway, for years they'd be considered top secret or need to know. Truth was, nobody knew. And about all they could come up with was basically this lie about Lockheed and Martin. Austin Martin? Who do you speak of? Anyway, basically a bunch of people were lying in 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970. They had no idea about anything. They shot the people who knew about it.